Welcome back to WSAV News 3 today at 11. Okay, full disclosure, this place has been on my list for the past few years, and I have yet to experience this unique eatery where African culture comes alive through art, music, and cuisine. And this week's edition of A Dash of That, food and cultural journalist Martina Yvette Allen has more on the place that I'm still like, I cannot believe I have not been there yet. And we're talking about...
Yes, we are talking about Baobab Lounge, which
Yes.
is inside of the JW Marriott, Plant Riverside. And so this particular restaurant, it definitely is a cultural experience. It's a storytelling structure. It's one that's supposed to be deemed to actually give the patrons an opportunity to immerse themselves in Central African culture.
Yeah, and they certainly do, because every time I've been to Plant Riverside, I always make sure to pass by, and it looks like a museum.
It really does. So a lot of the sculptures that they use, which actually was made by a sculptor who was from Benin. So all of this is very traditional. It has its own ambiance. There's also like a touch of like sacred kente in there as well. So everything is supposed to be basically an exclusive opportunity for, again, just for the patrons that are there to actually just be immersed, understand what the purpose of Central African food and how it basically represents the rest of the world, because everything started with the spice trade.
Yeah.
And that spice trade is very essential in this.
Okay, so tell us more about the owners and the chef.
Okay, so the chef is actually, his name is Executive Chef Gonzalo Hamanin. I do apologize if I pronounced that name incorrectly, and I think it's Hamakin. Chef Gonzalo actually he was raised in Mexico. He took a lot of the elements in this particular dinner. You can definitely see how the African and as well as Mexican influences also came through in many of these dishes, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the purpose of this particular restaurant was just to give away for the low country vibes, as well as, again, the African culture and cuisine to actually merge together, to kind of just highlight who we are, especially as a culture, and more so a culture of people who are very much indigenous and also a part of the Gullah Geechee community as well.
And so these are authentic recipes that we're going to taste. So once you go inside, after you've taken in like the environment, because what is it, the vibe like there?
So the vibe here is the ambience is very much straightforward, as far, like you said, like a museum. It's an art exhibition. You walk in, immediately you are greeted by these wonderful statues, these animals that are also, everything is named. I believe that we actually had like a welcome experience in what's called the Elephant Room. There's ostriches. Everything is basically related to the safari. So for those of us who also have not claimed space at home, as far as Africa is concerned, this is a place for us as well to kind of just deem. And also, of course, so much so as like a business professional, especially as a young Black woman business professional, this is also a place that I like to go to because I like the vibe of it. I love the people there, the servers as well, and everything just immerses in that area.
So basically you're saying that you've been there more than once, and I have
yes,
not
that
been
is
yet.
correct.
So you're rubbing it in. You're rubbing it in.
Next time you have an invite, I promise.
So now let's rub it in even more. Let's talk about the food.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So we had a wonderful array of 3 different dishes that we tried during that day. And the wonderful thing about this is that Baobab Lounge is making a commitment to make this a full-on series. So they actually have one coming up soon, and they will have another one coming up in the month of Juneteenth. But for the most part, we started off with, again, those welcome appetizers, which were mostly vegetarian focused, a little bit of like black bean, like patties and hummus and things of that nature, a lot of fresh vegetables. They also had a gin welcome drink that was extremely, for me, for my flavor notes, was a little bitter. However, for people that love like a little bit of more bitters into it, as well as the ambience of certain like berries, you will love it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the next picture.
Yes. All right, so while we're waiting on the next picture, let's just talk about the courses in full general.
Yeah, talk about the courses.
So for instance, the first one that we started off with was the fish curry, which was basically a heartier dish. Very well balanced, a lot of tender tomato notes as well.
Yeah.
I really love the flavors in that one. I was expecting a little bit more of a a peanut note. However, I really appreciate the fact they stuck it in with more of like a ginger, almost fragrance to it, which was very unique and very savory.
Yeah.
And then the next portion of it, the next highlight that we actually had was the chicken chermoula.
I know that's
Yes,
your favorite,
that
right?
was my favorite. So the chicken chermoula, in which I had to look it up because, again, even though I'm well versed in food, you still got to learn things.
Yeah.
So chermoula actually refers to the green chutney or like a verde sauce that comes on top. And then also it comes with more of a traditional like maize tostado. And then you have your chicken, your cilantro, parsley, a little bit cabbage. I could eat that again and again. And Gonzalo, if you're watching this, I can eat that again and again. So that was definitely something I really enjoyed. And then the next portion, we did have the lamb chops. Now,
I saw those.
Yes, no.
Oh, and you know, lamb chops. Those are my favorites.
Chops, and they were spiced perfectly. They had a great little rub to them, a little dry, a little bit more of a jerky experience. So maybe it was a little dry aged as well, which was really, really nice. Very good flavor notes on that. I did not have the side of the other fixings just because it had carrots in it, and we all know I'm allergic to carrots. So that's the only reason why.
So we have less than 30 seconds, but we did see the wines that came up.
And the
really
wines are a big highlight. So all of the wines that you see paired today came from South Africa. They did a nice little historical moment where they actually talked about the trade during South Africa and how those wines also evolved.
Oh, wow. I cannot wait to be Martina's guest.
It's coming.
And experience it. So they're open Sunday through Thursday, 3 until 11, Fridays and Saturdays, 12 noon until midnight at Plant Riverside District. You can find a link to Martina's blog, a dash of that, a dash of history, and this segment and any of her other previous interviews on our website at wsav.com/Martina. Right now, time for a look at our forecast. Good morning, Alyssa.